How you doing, everybody? This is Jay Nanda, Alamo True Metal for Access.com, coming to you from the bowels of the Rock Box in San Antonio, Texas, on a very unique and special weekend for many occasions, for many reasons. And I'm here with a man who you know from incredible music through several bands, not the least of which is his incredible solo career, but also Wolf's Bane and a band you may have heard of called Iron Maiden back in the mid and late 90s. A man who otherwise needs no introduction, but I felt like giving you one anyway. Mr. Blaze Bayley, how are you, sir?
Thank you. All right, yeah,
Welcome to San Antonio.
Yeah. Good. It's good to be back.
Yes, Blaze is headlining an incredible show tonight here at the Rock Box in downtown San Antonio. But it's got some, if you're watching this, of course, it's been a week since Hurricane Harvey blasted the Houston and southeast coast of Texas. It's been 7 or 8 days since the storm, and people are still flooding out and trying to get their lives back together. And Blaze was actually supposed to be in Houston last night, but the show, of course, there was canceled. He graced us with his presence a day early yesterday here in San Antonio, doing a meet and greet at a local record store, signing autographs. Of the show here in San Antonio is tonight, and it has turned into a Hurricane Harvey donation relief effort here in town. What does it mean to you, first of all, sir, to be back in Texas touring on a new album that we will talk about, and just the circumstances of it all?
Well, it's great to be back in Texas, one of my favourite places in the world. I love this state. As you know, I really enjoy coming to USA, but particularly I like coming to Texas. It has a culture all of its own, and I've got a few friends here that I always catch up with. So it's really nice to be here. Of course, the tragic side of it with the hurricane is very unpleasant, and all the scenes on the news about what's happening. But yeah, you have to say that Texas people are tough.
Yeah.
And I saw some incredible things, not just the horrible devastation, but the incredible toughness and resilience of people of Texas going through absolute hardship and the worst circumstances that you can imagine, and just getting through it. So I think it's a real example with my music and my lyrics and the things that I do. I always try to project something positive. A lot of things are true stories and stories of resilience and trying to find the motivation within yourself to continue through difficult circumstances in your life, whatever they may be, if they're emotional or real physical hardship. Many of my lyrics are about those situations. So it's nice for me to be here in my favourite state of the union, but it's difficult because of the tragedy. And what I said in my press release was, well, just for the hour or so that we're on stage, I'll just do my very best to try and make people forget. Just give them that tiny break and say, look, right, we're here now, nothing's going to happen except we're going to have some loud metal, and we're going to try and involve you in our show, participate in our show, and then just give you that little bit of relief against all this horrible stuff outside. So I hope that we can do that. Yeah. It's a part of what we always try to do when we do our shows, on every tour, on every occasion. We try to connect with our audience, and it's not you have come to see us, you have come to see us, it's you are here as a part of this show. You are a part of this, you are integral to this performance, and that's what we try and do at every one, and I hope it will work here tonight in San Antonio, and yeah, I hope for the best.
Blaze is always, if you've never seen him in concert, he is so uplifting between songs, and as he mentioned with his lyrics. What was it like for you as far as early in the week we got the word that last night's show for you in Houston was canceled, that you would be coming to town a day early? Just the circumstances, what have you seen? I don't know how much free time you've had in town. You did the meet and greet yesterday. There are many disaster relief shows happening tonight and throughout the weekend, not the least of which is the one here tonight with Blaze. But as you said, your special relationship with Texas, just when you first found out the news that your tour itinerary was kind of thrown a little bit out of whack.
It's difficult to believe, really, because, you know, one of the things I've always tried to do, whatever reason it is, I've always tried to make that show in very adverse circumstances. And I've played shows in heavy snow up to here, where, you know, just a handful of people made it to the gig because if I knew they were going, I didn't want to cancel, and things like that. So it's such a huge thing. It's difficult to believe that it can wipe out the show. The venue was full of water, so that's just difficult to actually comprehend, that something so powerful, so horrible, can happen to wipe out the show, because you think, oh well, we'll try and get there. It's impossible to get there. It's dangerous, and you're not allowed to go there. You're only allowed to try and get out of it. So that was really unusual and difficult to understand. And let's go to San Antonio and try and make the best of that. It's good for my voice to have the extra day's rest, but really we'd much rather play the show. So we hope that we can reschedule this show in Houston and come back and play next year, next September, with part 3, and hopefully make up for that show that we didn't do, and hopefully be a part of something good recovering in Houston.
Yeah, we're definitely doing our part and wish those people well in Houston, Corpus Christi, Rockport. They say if the storm had moved 30 miles west, we would be the ones underwater right now, and this would be the show canceled. I wouldn't be sitting here on the couch with you right now if that was the case. So just a freak of Mother Nature.
Yeah. So you don't know with the weather, you know, that's why we always talk about it. We have so much weather in England, but we don't have as much extreme weather as you guys do in this area.
Yeah. Could there be any more appropriate title for an artist's new album that he's promoting than Blaze's brand new forthcoming album, Endure and Survive? Of course, I know you didn't write it about hurricanes and disaster relief.
No.
It's a concept album. It comes out September 22nd. I have been fortunate enough to have a copy of it. Some great songs on there. It is part 2 of a trilogy coming. The actual official title is Endure and Survive, Infinite Entanglement Part 2. And it's about a sci-fi character named William Black. What would you like to say to people about it? Go out and get the album September 22nd.
Well, it's out now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not September 22nd.
Okay, the release I got said September 22nd.
No,
okay.
That's fake news.
Very good. Go on. Mr. Trump would be proud of that then.
That's absolutely fake news.
Okay.
I don't know which
Go out and get it. Yes.
You heard that from, but we have it with us.
Okay.
So you can get it tonight, and it's available on my shop, on my web shop, and we ship to the US. It's part 2 of a trilogy, and the trilogy starts last year with Infinite Entanglement, which is the story of someone being selected for a mission to go right across the galaxy to a new Earth-like planet discovered by Kepler Space Telescope. And he discovers that he's not actually in a tight-fitting spacesuit, but his consciousness has been downloaded into a machine body, and he only discovers that when he's on that mission. Then he has to decide, well, I think like a human, I feel like a human, but I have no flesh and blood. Am I human? And it's a question of identity and going to a new place with no regrets and no past, but leaving behind everything that you know and consider to be home, and knowing it's a one-way journey. On part 2, Endure and Survive, it is the end of this mission. It takes 1,000 years to get to the nearest Earth-like planet. There is no faster than light travel, so he has to endure this journey of 1,000 years, and as he gets close to the planet, he starts to realise that he was never meant to get there. The ship's computer and the ship itself are programmed to get rid of him, to throw him out into space, to treat him like a piece of junk. Now his mission is accomplished. His DNA is never supposed to reach that planet. And that is the survival part. He has to survive this attempt on his life, the attempt to obliterate him, to destroy him, That's why it's endure and survive. And so this second album is much darker, but it also has songs like Fight Back, which is about, out of sheer spite, not giving in. You know they want to get rid of you, and just hanging on through sheer spite. And Dawn of the Dead Sun is about coming back from nothing, making a decision in your own mind that you will not let go, that you will not give up no matter what. As the drowning man, you refuse to drown, and that's what it's about. And there are many of these subjects on the album, and it's much darker. So far, live, everywhere we've been in the US, we played a lot of new songs from the Endure and Survive album and from Infinite Entanglement, and fans have really got into it. So they've gone down really well, the album is doing well. So you can order that online at blazebayley.net, and if you go to official Blaze Bayley on Facebook, there's a tab there to connect to the shop.
Some incredible songs on there, the title track, Endure and Survive, Eating Lies, Escape Velocity, Destroyer, Together We Can Move the Sun. Like I said, I've really enjoyed this album. It's fantastic stuff, and there's nothing fake about that. So, but Blaze has had a very special relationship with Texas, just even in the recent couple of years. We said before we went on camera that the last time you were here was February 2015 as a part of the Foundry.
Yeah.
At a small bar in Universal City, about 30 miles from here, called the Bunker Sports Bar, and that was also a very crappy weather night. February 2015, it was cold, rainy, drizzly. I think it was a Sunday night. And just a very intimate setting, a sports bar that didn't even have a stage. Blaze played on the dance floor, but it was one of the most incredible, inspiring, hard-rocking 2-hour set that you played. Was just, and you took the moment with all the fans before and after the show. What do you remember most about that show? Just that circumstance.
Well, I don't really remember much about the end because I started drinking after the show.
Right.
People kept buying me drinks.
Yes,
but it was, yeah, it was a very intimate show, and for me, it's not important about the prestige of the venue or if it's big or small. It's just two things that matter to me. Do they care about the sound, and do they respect the fans? And if those two things are okay, then it's fine for me. I don't care if it's a very small venue or a big venue. I would never go back. If the fans are treated badly or they don't care about the sound, I just don't go back. I don't have to. I can choose where I want to play. I like to play smaller venues. I choose to do that. I don't have to. I can go anywhere I want, really. But that's what I choose to do. And that night at the Bunker, that was a great evening. Made a lot of new fans, people that had never heard of Blaze Bayley but weren't really into metal as well, but came because, well, it's something on locally, and maybe the guys from my Maiden, maybe it's worth watching. And I made a lot of new fans that night. So we never really think of it as heavy metal. We always consider ourselves music, and we think no matter what music you like, if you like live music, then you come and see a live show, then you probably like what we do, and that's because it's filled with passion and emotion, and the songs come from an emotional, passionate place, whether that is sometimes a fiery aggression or a deep melancholy and sadness. This is the heart of the songs that we write and perform. And so at the Bunker that night, it was good. And I'm hoping for the same tonight, really. I'm really hoping that, you know, we're going to be able to meet a lot of people and make a lot of new friends, because I would love San Antonio to be a regular place on my tour schedule.
And another cool thing besides how wonderful your show was that night was that your entire backing band was all Texans. You had good friends of ours, Bobby Jarzombic on drums from Fate's Warning, Sebastian Bach's band, Riot, Rob Halford's band on bass. I love the way you describe John Moyer of Disturbed. I love when you call him devastatingly effective. John Moyer, and of course Rick Plester on guitar from Austin, Texas. So tell us, you have a completely different guys accompanying you in your solo band on the new album on stage tonight. Who is with you tonight?
Well, the guys are a band in their own right, and the name of their band is Absolver, and they're from the UK. we've been working together for the last 4 years in Europe, and on these 2 albums, the guys have worked with me writing and performing in the studio, recording with me, and I've managed to keep it together. Well, slowly I've managed to get far enough so that I could take the guys with me everywhere on tour. Before, I could only afford to take them to Europe, but now I can bring them to USA and South America, and so far it's going really well. So what the fans get this time is it's exactly the same show that we do across Europe with the same set list. When we're together with the Foundry, it's a bunch of friends, and we play different songs, a couple of covers, a few of our own songs and everything, and it's for professional guys just having a great time, you know, and sharing things. So it's a big jam, as well as, you know, we play some nice songs as well.
And to continue Blaze's relationship with Texas, the Foundry also did a live CD live in Dallas.
Yes, we did, yeah.
2014, I think
yeah,
it was.
Yeah, and you can get that.
Yeah, right before, I have that. It's right before AJ Perro passed, sadly, from Twisted Sister, of course, was Blaze's drummer in the Foundry before Bobby helped out on the show here. But let's go even further back, starting out in Wolfsbane. Is it true that Wolfsbane, before you even joined Iron Maiden, did Wolfsbane open some gigs for Maiden?
Yeah, we did in the UK. There were 30 sold-out shows, 33 sold-out shows. It was the last tour that Maiden did ever of small venues in the UK. Wow. And we were lucky enough to get the opening slot on that, and we was Wolfsbane Iron Maiden, and it just went down great. And the album that we did that tour with is called All Hell's Breaking Loose at Little Kathy Wilson's place. I met all the guys, and I was invited to join the soccer team of Iron Maiden, and it was, to this day, it's still perhaps the best tour that I ever did, was supporting Iron Maiden. Even better than being in Iron Maiden, because there's a lot less pressure when you're the support band. You've got 45 minutes max. That's it, man. And you haven't got, you know, you haven't got the responsibility for the whole crowd or anything. When you're actually in Iron Maiden, you are playing for England in the World Cup, and you have to win. That's what the gig is like. It's the top professional gig in my field of music that you can possibly get. You know, so
did that help pave the way for you?
Oh yeah, I think it did, because I think I was one of the very few singers that didn't have to send in a tape, because they already had my record from Wolfsbane, from the tour. So that, I think that was the only difference I had. I think really everything else was just the same. I auditioned like anybody else. I tried my voice in the studio just like everybody else. I had to learn the same songs everybody else did. There were no favours after that. But I think the advantage that I had, if I had any, was that I didn't have to send in a tape or a CD.
So having said all that, what was it like for you when you officially got the call to join? What was your biggest memory in your 5-6 years with the band? And then when you found out that Bruce was coming back, what was that whole roller coaster like, before, during, and after?
Well, it was a lot of fun, and I've got great memories of my time in Iron Maiden. I suppose the most important thing for me out of the whole experience is that I learned so much from Steve Harris. He is a genius, I consider, as a songwriter. Some of the things that he's come up with are absolutely iconic and legendary in metal that we love so much, and in music generally. I think his work and the songs that he's written, the music that he's written is fantastic. So to work alongside him and have him as a kind of mentor, working on songs with him, was an incredible experience. So that's really what I take away most. I played to hundreds of thousands of people during that tour on big stages, and did fantastic tours, you know, and lived my dream of being a singer. But in the end, when I boil it down, the thing that's most important is that what I learned while I was in the band, because that actually shaped my voice and shaped my style for my own music. So as I came to do my own album, Silicon Messiah, after Iron Maiden, it was filled with the lessons that I'd learnt and some of the ideas that I'd hoped to work on a third album. So Stare at the Sun and Born as a Stranger and The Launch were all ideas that I'd hoped to work with the band on. And since then, really, my voice has developed in a slightly different direction to what it would have developed if I hadn't joined Iron Maiden, because working with Steve Harris in the studio, I found this other part of my voice and gradually had more strength. And now I have a voice where I can choose the textures that I apply to the lyric in the studio. I can not just the pitch and the melody, but the texture and the tone of voice that I apply to the lyric in that part of the song. And that's a world away from where I was before I joined Iron Maiden. So now with Infinite Entanglement and with Endure and Survive, I feel that my voice now has strength in all the areas that I want to create something really, really magical. And that's what I'm working for each time that we're working on new material and trying to find these parts of the voice. And what part of the chord should we pitch that? What key shall we have that in, so that when we get to that part, the voice sounds this way to the listener, so that the listener can connect to this lyric in a very particular way. All of that goes back to that time in the studio with Steve Harris and Iron Maiden and working on X Factor album and Virtual 11. You know, the textures and nuance of Sign of the Cross and the Klansman and those albums, that all comes into the work that I've done on Endure and Survive. So the last track on Endure and Survive is a huge song with an unusual arrangement.
Yes.
Together We Can Move the Sun. That's only possible because of that work I did on X Factor.
One thing I've always wanted to ask you, Blaze, was, I guess Bruce went through this when he replaced Paul Di'Anno to a certain degree, but Paul had only 2 albums under his belt. You were replacing a guy who was etched in stone and had done many albums at the time. So when you were making the X Factor and had joined the band, maybe it was different through various parts of the world, but how long did it take for fans to accept you? Did you deal with a lot of backlash at the start?
Well, there are still fans that never accepted me. There are still people that hate Blaze Bayley, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't like to be the singer in Iron Maiden. It was just ordinary, and nobody really gave a, toss about. So some people still hate me. They hate those albums. X Factor and Virtual 11 are the worst Iron Maiden albums ever for some people, and that's okay, because you know what? I meet people every night who come and bring their X Factor and bring their Virtual 11, and they say, these are the best Iron Maiden albums. These are the albums that I love. This is the first Iron Maiden album they got, and I absolutely love it. It's my favourite one. So for all of those people that still hate me, there are people that absolutely love what I did on those albums. So, you know, I made it